Okay, so now I am logged into the SMART system. I'm actually logged in as a Colorado plan preparer. So we're just going to briefly go over some of the steps that you might go through to create a stewardship plan. This should be one of the first windows that you see when you log in, and we're just going to jump over here and say we're going to create a new stewardship plan. So when we first set up a plan, we have to set up some general details about the plan. And I'm just going to sort of step through some of that. This is going to be a new plan, and I'm just going to give this a sort of brief name. Each state might have their own naming conventions for their plan. So I'm just going to call this Colorado 2012 number 1. This is going to be a plan that lasts 20 years. Remember, you only have to fill in, the required fields, which are indicated with a red asterisk. Your plan ID and your plan name might actually be the same thing, once again, depending on your state's naming conventions. We're going to start this plan effective the beginning of next month, so November 1st. And then we're going to say save. We're going to save the initial part of this plan, the original details, and now we're going to enter the footprint of the plan. Well, actually, we're gonna jump over to the property boundary, and I am going to show you all how you can enter in the spatial data for a plan. As you can see, navigating this map is somewhat similar to navigating a Google or a Bing map or something like that. You have up here in the left-hand side, you have your plus and minus to zoom into an area or zoom out. You can also use the scroll wheel on your mouse to zoom in and zoom out. As you can see up in the upper left, every time I scroll up, I'm zooming in further and further. And then we wait for the background imagery to repopulate. But basically, you would zoom into your area of interest, the area where your forest stewardship plan exists, and then we're going to draw in the property boundary. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to come down into this lower right-hand corner, and I'm going to say draw. And then when I take my cursor out onto the map, you can see kind of right there, there's a little circle underneath the cursor. And wherever I put that circle and then click with the mouse, it's going to place a point or kind of like a corner of what I'm drawing. As you can see, here we go. It's clicking around. And you can get kind of as detailed as you want to here, or you can make it more detailed later and just do create like a rough outline of your property right now. So there is the initial outline that I've just finished, and in order to finish that, I double clicked with the mouse instead of just a single click. Now over here down in the lower right hand corner, once again in that little dialog box, I'm going to use the save button. Uh-oh, we got an error. Occasionally that might happen. I'll try saving that again. So it actually saved successfully that time. Sometimes you might get an error if there's maybe a little bit of a hiccup in your data connection. Now that we have the first portion of our property boundary set up, the original outline, I'm going to show you we can actually edit that outline by choosing, if I choose this right here, you can see the circles with the brighter outline are actually all of the points that I placed when I originally drew this shape. But say I wasn't really happy with that, I can then choose to go in here and I can move not only the points that I've already put down once I go into edit mode. You can see that there's sort of some temporary or possible vertices that are placed in between the points that I used or that I created. And you can use those to edit your shape as well, just like that. And when you do use one of those, then you start getting more and more detailed points and lines for your shape. And then you can just go ahead and save that again. And then if you go up to the top of the screen, we call this up here your dashboard area. You can see not only do we have for spatial data property boundary, we also have stands. So we're going to go click on the stand area. And a stand within a property boundary is an area where different types of activities might take place as part of your stewardship plan. Those activities might be things like thinning or prescribed burning or agroforestry or implanting or any variety of different activities that might be happening there. Data connections kind of hiccuping a little bit here. Here we go. So when I click on the stands button, the system will initially show me just the property boundary. In order to create a stand, I'm going to jump back down here into this lower right-hand corner for our where our little dialog box is, and I'm going to say create a stand. Now to create a stand, you're just going to click inside of your property boundary. And basically this stand function sort of splits up areas within your property boundary for you. So it kind of splits that area, that polygon for you into other areas. And down here you're able to give each one attributes. So you might number your stands or give them particular names like field A. And then you would save that. You do have to name each one of your stands, though, no matter what naming convention you choose. And once you've created your first stand, then you can go in and create more and more stands. Just by, once again, using that same sort of process that we used before, just sort of clicking inside and outside of the area that you want to create a stand. So I'm going to call this one field B. And I'm going to save that. Now say you've created a couple of stands within your property boundary, and the rest of it, you just want the rest of this area down in here to be a stand completely all on its own. Well, that's when you would use this other button down here called Convert Remainder. So it's going to take the remainder, whatever's left of that property after you've created your other stands, and it's going to make that all into one stand. So we're going to call this one Field C. Now, you can come in here and you can select a stand. And when you select a stand, then you're going to be able to go in and create, you're going to be able to attribute that stand. And you might want to add some activities like we're planning on doing thinning in this area. So we're going to go into this activity screen. And there's a whole drop-down menu of different things that you can do. So I'm going to choose agroforestry. And okay, maybe we're going to do some reforestation in this area. Maybe it's a bit thin. Frequency, we're probably only going to do that once, and we're going to treat 5 acres. And we're going to start doing that next year. And we'll probably be able to finish that activity within a year. Once again, in this particular dialogue, you're going to have to fill in any fields that are marked with an asterisk. So we're going to save that. Now I want to go back over to some of our spatial features again. You can see this screen once you save it. Once you save that activity, it then takes you into another screen where you can add more information. But I want to go back to our spatial information. Not only can you put in your property boundary, and I believe the property boundary is required for every plan. You can also add line features in. So say you have, perhaps like a stream or a fence or some other sort of like linear feature that you're going to be doing some work on. You're going to come in here and you're going to create a line. And we're just going to say that there's a fence right along here. And once again, you double click to finish creating your feature. Let's give that another try real quick. We'll double click to finish that. There we go. We're going to call this a fence. And it's we'll just call it a 1 foot wide fence. And we'll save that. As a user, you can also create points. So, for instance, consider if you have a particular tree within your property that you're doing some work on. You can show that tree within here. There you go. And there's our very large tree. So that's generally what a user would do to create the different spatial features within a project. So as I mentioned a little while ago, this area up here at the top of your screen is something that we would call like a dashboard, and it's kind of how you navigate to anything about any plan that you're currently working on. So if you click on this plan name up here, it's going to take you to an overview page. See right here in the overview, it's showing our property boundary as well as the stands and the point that we added into the spatial data earlier. And then it's also showing us sort of like a timeline for the different activities that are going to be going on. And we can kind of pull the timeline, and it's going to show us wherever we've set up activities for different areas within the stewardship area. And it's going to show you what all those different little activities are. And then down here at the bottom, it gives you your stand details as well as your line and point details. And down here on the side under the plan details, you can click on things like the property location, and you can add more information there, and you can add under the general details, you can add the footprint, certifications, location stuff. And one thing to kind of, it's kind of interesting to show right here is that this GIS acres Field is not a field that the user can fill in. That's actually taken directly from the property boundary that the user's drawn in on the map for their particular plan. And then if we go once again back up to our little dashboard here, we can move from general information into details. And there are a lot of different details that you can add in here, that the user can add in. You can add in all sorts of forest types, and this is all user created data. None of this is drop down menu, so you can definitely put in as much information and description as you would like. And so not only do we have the property resource conditions that the users can include, then we move from the conditions or the current conditions of the property over into landscape level activities. And these include, activities that you might be doing for threatened and endangered species or invasive species, or any of these sort of resource areas. And then once again, going back up to the dashboard, any of that information is accessible from either the dashboard or from the overview page. Now once you've actually created your plan and filled in all of the information that you need to, then you can come over here and you can create a report from it. And the system will take a little bit of time actually pulling together this report for you. And the output is going to be a Word document that you as the user can actually go in and edit information in. So if something shows up in the report that that maybe you don't, if a landowner wants to have a copy of their report but they want certain, the landowner wants a copy of their report to share, but they don't want certain information showing, then you can delete that for them, or you can add images or pictures into the report if you want to. Unfortunately, the report link is not working at the moment. That might be a function that they're still working on.
Yeah.
But after a plan preparer has created their stewardship plan, then they would actually, and once we've completely finished adding all of the information that they need to add in there, then they would submit the plan for approval. And, well, at the moment, I think that might be, you have to have an accounting associated with it. That would be under location. The system's really good at letting you know when there's something that you're missing that you need to have. I'm going to say it's in Denver County. Click Save. So apparently the error had to do with the fact that I had neglected to enter a county for this plan. So now when I hit submit, I'm getting a are you sure you want to submit this plan message? And yeah, I'm sure. I think I'm pretty well done with it, so I'm going to click yes. So now, as the plan preparer, I have to now wait for the plan approver to approve my plan. It's out of my hands now.